Let me ask, ever had a showdown with your husband about picking the perfect Christmas tree?
Let me tell you a story about what happens when you go together to pick out your first tree, so you can see how very merry the holidays can be. The day started out innocent enough until we got into a little fuss. I said, I want some cider, it's a treat. He said, that's for Halloween, take a seat. By then we were in the car, ready to head to a Christmas tree farm. We looked at our maps, I pointed and said, I wanna go here. He snapped, no, we're going there. So we sat in the parking lot, watching the clock tick by, until I agreed with him, but I wasn't going to drive. Let me tell you a story about what happens when you go together to pick out your first tree, so you can see how very merry the holidays can be. We kept bickering as we drove along, without a moment of peace until he turned the radio on. That's when I noticed we drove too far. We missed the exit of his beloved tree farm. I took out my iPhone and tell him which way we should go. He didn't believe my way to his farm, so we made a few wrong turns until he ultimately agreed with me. We drove the rest of the way silently. Let me tell you a story about what happens when you go together to pick out your first tree, so you can see how very merry the holidays can be. Everything seemed relatively calm once we made it to the tree farm, until he said we need to get one that's small. No, I said my family always gets a tree that's tall. He shot back, it can't be too big, or it will lean against the wall. I rolled my eyes as I spied the perfect tree. He glared and made it clear he disagreed. We stood there too busy arguing whose tree was right and whose was wrong. We didn't see two separate couples by the trees that we liked at all. Let me tell you a story about what happens when you go together to pick out your first tree, so you can see how very merry the holidays can be. The holidays can be. The holidays can be. When we finally stopped and looked around, all the trees were gone, and so was most of the crowd. We jumped back into the car, heading for my choice of a tree farm. Once we arrived, I said, I don't wanna fight, just go ahead, baby, pick out the tree you like. So we brought a tree home that was too tall, that ended up leaning against the wall. Somehow in arguing over picking out a tree, we started laughing and began kissing passionately, and progress naturally. This year we aren't fighting over the perfect Christmas tree, 'cause we are too busy taking care of our new baby. Let me tell you a story about what happens when you go together to pick out your first tree, so you can see how very merry the holidays can be. The holidays